find it difficult to focus on the awareness. It's like an object. It's easy to see and to give my attention to thoughts, feelings, objects. And I find it really helpful, the allowing an object to float in spaciousness and somehow disidentify with it and allow it to sort of dissolve. But I find the sort of next stage of identifying with awareness, or somehow giving my attention to the awareness, which is nothingness, which is emptiness.
Yes.
I get stuck, because it's like, well, where is it? How can I give my attention to it?
You're quite right. And who would be giving its attention to awareness? What would that attention be that attends to awareness?
Well, ultimately, it would be awareness itself.
Yes.
Although I guess my belief is that it's me.
It is you. You are awareness.
I guess.
Give your attention now to your thoughts.
Mm.
Yes. You are giving attention to your thoughts. Yes?
Yes.
Now, who is the you that is aware of or giving attention to your thoughts?
Awareness.
Awareness. So that is you. Is it not you that is aware of your thoughts?
It is, yeah.
Not in theory, or not ultimately, or not, but just simply now. It is you, awareness, that is aware of your thoughts.
Yes.
Yeah, it is you, awareness, that is aware of these words.
Yes.
And the sight of this room.
Mm-hmm.
And the sensation of your hand on your leg. Yeah, that's you, awareness. It's not something, you haven't suddenly ceased being me and become awareness. It's just what you are. Yeah. Now, So now, instead of you, awareness, giving your attention, which means giving yourself to the thought, the sound, or the sensation, what would you have to do to give your attention to yourself? How would you do that?
But all I can think of is to withdraw my attention from the object.
Perfect. Exactly. You can't actually shine the light of your attention in the way that you shine it on a thought. The thought seems to be other than you. You can only give your attention to something that is apparently other than you. You remember what we said yesterday about attendere, attention being stretching towards. You stretch it from yourself, awareness, towards the thought. In the case of a thought, you don't stretch it very far. You just stretch it a little way. In the case of a tree, you stretch it a bit further. But in each case, you stretch yourself, awareness, towards something which seems to be not you. Now, how are we going to attend to ourselves? Where do we have to stretch ourselves to? We don't have to stretch anywhere, because we're already there. In other words, you cannot attend to yourself in the way that you attend to an object, because you can only attend to something that is not yourself. So it is a falling back of the attention into its source, rather than a turning around of the attention. Now, the teaching sometimes says, as a concession to our object-facing attention, the attention that is going outwards towards the tree, as a concession to that movement outwards, away from ourselves, the teaching sometimes says, turn around.
I never got that.
And come back to yourself.
Yeah.
That is just said as a concession towards the mind that is facing outwards. It says, no, face inwards.
And that never made sense, because there's no object there.
Then forget it, because it's not a very accurate phrase. Because as you have rightly discovered in your experience, you can't really turn around upon yourself, because you're too close to yourself. It's like saying to the sun, stop shining on the moon and start shining on yourself. And what's the sun going to do? To kind of turn round and start. If it turns round, it'll just be shining on whatever it is, Jupiter or whatever it is that's in the other direction. So it's not a turning round of the attention. It's rather a falling back of the attention, because awareness is the source of attention. Our attention towards apparent objects that are other than ourself proceeds out of awareness towards the object. So in this case, it's just the opposite of that. It's just the sinking back, the falling back of attention into its source.
So the falling back of the attention, I can get the sort of movement of that, but fall back into what? I just...
Okay, so you're right. Even the falling back of attention into itself is also, at some point, it has to be discarded as a pointing out instruction, because it too makes a subtle concession to the belief that we have extended ourselves towards an object, and therefore we must fall back to ourselves. So that's a useful instruction at a certain stage, but at another stage you might say, well, fall back into, as you have just done, fall back into what I am already, the awareness with which I previously seemed to be aware of objects. So at that stage there's no question of either turning around the attention or even the falling back of the attention. It's simply abiding knowingly as that awareness. And in fact, this abidance as yourself is the ultimate meditation. It's the true meditation. This is why Ramana Maharshi said, simply be what you are. That's it. That's the essence of self-inquiry. In other words, self-inquiry is initiated usually by a thought in the mind, who am I? As a result of that thought, we try to turn our attention upon ourself. That seems to be an activity that is initiated by the thought, who am I? But as we explore this turning around of the attention or falling back of the attention, we realize I can't even do that. But that realization comes with the realization I am already that towards which I was previously trying to turn, or into which I was previously trying to fall. I am that. Just by being that, just by being awareness, I am aware. I know awareness. By being itself, awareness knows itself. All I need to do is abide as that, to be knowingly that. When I say be knowingly that, I say knowingly because we are always that. We just don't usually know it. So you stand knowingly as the presence of awareness. There's nothing to do with your attention, because your attention is already where it needs to be, which is with yourself, with itself. So meditation starts off as an activity, but it ends simply as pure being, just abiding as you are.